Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the GLAD webinar dedicated to progress and development in the field of adult learning in candidate countries of the European Union and neighboring countries of the European Union. Adult learning is a pressing priority for most countries inside the European Union and outside the European Union in the light of the challenges of the speed of the transition, of the changes, demographic challenges. And we can observe that every country is, in fact, taking action and developing initiatives and innovations in the field of adult learning. I'm very pleased to open the webinar today, which is organized together with DVV International, so will be chaired and moderated by myself and also my dear colleague Levan Kvadjadze. Levan, good morning. It's a pleasure and an honor. Our two organizations are not only collaborating, allow me to say that we really developed a real partnership, and this event today is in fact in a series of, is the continuation of a series of events and conferences that we have already organized together. Welcome, Levan, and I want that you also welcome the participants.
Thank you, Syria. Dear colleagues, a very good morning. I'm Levan Kvadjadze to represent DVV International. And for us at DVV International, education for all of us education is a right, but for us at DVV International, we believe that education, lifelong education is a human right. Education should not be limited by age. We strongly believe that the right on education has to continue lifelong. And accordingly, also educational systems, formal and non-formal systems, should contribute to realization of this right. And exactly our work, our organization, many of you are probably familiar with us, but those of you who are not familiar, I would just briefly say that we are German non-governmental organization representing the biggest network of community adult education centers in Germany. We are a professional organization of adult education working in the field of development cooperation. In 6 countries of Europe, we have our country offices. We try to contribute to improvement of framework conditions in the field of lifelong learning and adult education. And as a civil society organization, we stand, of course, for holistic understanding of adult learning. This means that besides the work-relevant training for adults, we support and we believe in strengths of all kinds of learning, because we think that adult education should help people to get integrated not only in the world of labor, but also in societies, to be politically active, to be socially active, and so on. So it's clear that for both of co-organizing organizations, such events, such webinars are crucial to promote learning, to promote sharing of experience, and I hope you will enjoy this event, which will demonstrate 2 good practices from Eastern Europe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Levan. In fact, the program today is to introduce you with 2 interesting, very relevant and interesting practices, and there will also be time for questions and answers before the closing of the webinar at 11:30. But to start with, I would like just to share what are the latest development at the level of European Union. In March this year, 2025, European Commission has launched a new strategy. This strategy is called the Union of Skills. And the idea of this Union of Skills is really to bring together different initiatives, but also to address with new tools and also new funding the challenge of the rapid changes that require Europe to take initiatives and action in terms of remain competitive and remain a global actor. At the center of these strategies is people, and the importance of succeeding in the transition refers to the fact that people are able to navigate and succeed in these transitions in a fair manner. So the idea of this strategy, focus on skills, is that this skills development shall be accessible to everyone. And here we go back to the idea of lifelong learning. Let's see more in details where does this union of skills as an overall strategy comes from. And we see that the union of skills was stimulated by three very large and very massive, I would say, challenges. One is about the insufficient availability of skills in Europe in general, but in the labor market more particularly, with not sufficient, say, generation of qualitative dimension and quantitative dimension of competencies of people. Second, the speed of the transformation due to the technological advance, due to the impact of these technological transformations in the life of everyone in social terms, in economic terms, in labor market terms. So there is a need to respond and to especially accelerate. This is the second challenge. The third one, last but not least, is the fact that we observe that skills systems, skills development, be it through vocational education and training, be it through non-formal learning, tend to be fragmented. This is a reality in European countries. It is a reality in neighboring countries. So the issue of fragmented governance, time after time, year after year, it emerges as an impediment, as an obstacle. And here, the idea of the union of skills is to have stronger steer of the policies, to have convergence of policies, to bring different initiatives and different programs together, but at the same time to give, say, more responsibility to the public sector, to governments in particular, to drive all these initiatives in a coherent manner. And today we'll speak about that. We can see next that in a nutshell, the union of skills is composed of four major pillars: building skills, so increasing participation of people, increasing access, facilitating access to opportunities of skills development, and this must be of a good quality, and it must support the quality also of life and jobs of each and every individual. The second pillar is upskill and reskills, and obviously here the focus is on adult people who need to update their competencies, to reframe perhaps their qualifications or their set of skills, in particular in the light of the digital and green transition. Thirdly, the union of skills also focus on skill circulations. And why is this relevant? It's relevant because behind this idea, there is the issue of certification. So how to recognize the skills that are acquired formally or non-formally, and how this recognition or formal certification, even not a full qualification, but at least a smaller size, smaller dimension of certification can be recognized beyond borders. And last but not least, the fourth pillar of the union of skills, focusing on attracting people from different countries and facilitating integration, especially in the labor markets. We see importantly that these four pillars or four components of the union of skills are sustained by the idea of investment and of a stronger governance. And under the idea of investment, there is an important shift I would say, a cultural and conceptual shift, whereas investment shall be seen as a something spending as an investment with a return rather than a cost. So it has an impact. It should have also an impact on the way public budgets are designed and formulated, and cost and expenditure allocated to the sector of education and skills development. And the second important underlying factor, it's governance, and it's the angle we're taking today. Today, we are focusing on the governance side of other learning policies, and the fact that these policies shall become more coherent, less fragmented, more integrated. But we will hear two very interesting presentations, and in particularly highlighting two concepts or two notions of governance. One, the fact that the local level, even in a national system, in a country-wide system, the local level has a relevant role to play, in particular municipalities. And we will hear two very relevant practices. And second, the concept of partnerships. So with that, I would like to give the floor back again to Levan Kvadjadze for moderating the presentations and to give them space for comments, question, answers on this aspect of how to improve and how to make governance stronger in a way that policies and systems can become more coherent and predictable, and especially easier for people to get access to and participate in other learning opportunities. Levan, I hand over to you. We don't hear you.
Sorry. Thank you, Seria. Countries in Eastern Europe and in Southeastern Europe, which are on the way to the European Union, which try to implement reforms, and especially reforms in the field of adult education and lifelong learning, they had to tackle a very complex task, especially the issue of governance in lifelong learning and adult education is a crucial. And as the issue is very complex, because roles should be defined for partners, for central government, for local government, and their interaction. And all these aspects should bring push the numbers. So to increase participation, a concept of engagement of national and local governments are important. And today we will follow two cases from Ukraine and from Moldova, capital city of Moldova, city of Chisinau, and a regional city, important city from south of Ukraine, city of Mykolaiv, will present their approaches, how the local authorities decided to push participation numbers in the field of adult education. What were the steps they made to promote partnership, to create even some new types of providers, and by the end, how fruitful these steps were. It is my big pleasure and honor to present firstly Ms. Dr. Daniela Munka-Avteniev. She's a deputy at the General Directorate on Education and Youth in the city of Chisinau, in the Chisinau City Hall. Daniela, it's a pleasure to welcome you. You have the floor.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the invitation. Actually, last month we celebrated 2 years of our Adult Learning Center that was created in Chisinau, which was a good opportunity for us to go through the most important numbers that I would like to share with you today. And of course, we have a few very important lessons that we learned, and I would be really honored and happy to share those with you. So as I said, we have just celebrated 2 years of activity of the very first Adult Learning Center that was created in Republic of Moldova with the financial support of DVV International Moldovan Office. For us, it was a very unusual and interesting experience because in Republic of Moldova, although we have the legal framework for adult education and lifelong learning, there are no specific organizations that deal with this separately from the traditional formal educational institutions, which means that we have to try to create our own model. And of course, we follow the trends on, let's say, the labor market and what adults in Republic of Moldova really need. So if we start with the legal framework, of course, the Republic of Moldova recognizes adult education as an integral part of its national education system. In 2024, the Code of Education was revised, and in that revised version, we have a stronger focus on education, adult education in all the three areas: formal, non-formal, and informal. Of course, formal adult education is provided for universities, colleges, and vocational training institutions, while non-formal education is defined as organized learning activities outside the formal system. In the Republic of Moldova, we have a big number of universities and colleges, which is why it was assumed that there is no need for non-formal and informal education. And this was probably one of the, let's say, the problems that stopped the development of this domain. And so what we did in Chisinau through our Municipal Adult Learning Center is a good case studies for other municipalities and other countries to explore and learn from. So, of course, we have the Code of Education. We also have the National Strategy for Lifelong Learning that is valid until 2030. And of course, we have Moldova Strategy 2030, which sets the priorities for the long term. And just to answer the question that, or the issue that was raised by Mrs. Torelli at the beginning, what Moldova has done in 2014 is a great important step in recognizing non-formal and informal education. So last year, Republic of Moldova has adopted mechanism for the recognition and validation of prior learning, allowing skills acquired informally or non-formally to be assessed and certified, which means that any citizen that has formal and non-formal activities can go to Ministry of Education, provide the proper documentation, and apply for validation. So we believe this is a very important step in recognizing the importance of non-formal and informal education. Now, of course, we have Moldova 2030 strategy, which sets a clear vision and strategic direction for Moldova's educational sector. And the strategy emphasizes including lifelong learning across formal, non-formal, and informal settings. And a good thing is that this is one of the 9 strategic objectives that have been defined in the strategy. And for us, for local public administration, this is the legal basis to develop lifelong learning and to focus on adult, non-formal, and informal education. The first, of course, challenge that we encountered, and it is specified in this document, is the issue of the quality of the non-formal and informal programs. So, of course, it's very difficult for Ministry of Education and Research to validate the quality of these programs. And, of course, they have the next step would be to think of a mechanism that would, of course, ensure that standards are met and the education provided to adults, whether it's formal, non-formal, informal, is of the best or the highest quality possible. The challenges that are mentioned in the document, of course, the insufficient number of trainers, and I know most of the countries have the same issue. We don't have enough people who are trained in working with adults, except for like university professors or, college, professional schools, lectors. So we don't have enough trainers who know how to work in the non-formal and informal education. Of course, there is limited access to non-formal and adult education services, and this is a drawback because not all the adults have time to go to university and go through 4-year or 3-year, degree and go through that again. And of course, they're interested in short-term professional development services, which we offer. Of course, poorly funded and misdirected financial support for the system is another issue that we challenge. When we created the center and we went to the city council to, offer arguments and support it from local funds, the first question is, why do we need courses if we have so many universities, if we have so many formal institutions? So we had to bring arguments. And of course, a limited number of research studies focused on this issue. We still don't know how efficient it is. We still don't know how much, worth is it, because if we invest money from the local budget or the central budget for the government, of course, we need to provide results and we have to analyze the impact. And I think that's the next step for us to follow. When DVV International approached Chisinau municipality with the invitation to create this adult learning center, of course, that was an invitation that we were happy, to accommodate, because as a structure in Republic of Moldova, schools and kindergartens and youth centers and extracurricular activities are in charge of local public administration. So Chisinau municipality has several departments and directorates, as we call them, that organize adult learning. For example, the Directorate of Education, Youth and Sport that I represent, Directorate of Culture and Cultural Heritage, Directorate of Economy, Trade and Tourism, Directorate of Medical and Social Assistance. So all of these organizations, they develop adult learning programs that are, specifically targeting their beneficiaries, but they're done like separately. So there is no unified center that would do that. And this is why the idea of creating a separate center that would collaborate with all the other directorates and provide high quality services to the adult beneficiary was a good idea. And we, of course, gladly supported it. So Chisinau municipality has taken strategic steps to expand these opportunities by establishing this very first center in Republic of Moldova. Now, the center was created in April 2023 with the financial support of DVV International, Financial and Logistics. And it is the first municipal center dedicated exclusively to adult learning. We have had a lot of invitations from other big cities in Moldova, like Cahul, Orhei, Iedinets, who are interested in creating their own similar centers, which I think is an important step to spreading them, or sharing from our best practices. Now, till today, we have received more than 10,000 requests from people who live in Chisinau. The population of Chisinau is roughly 750,000 people officially, and probably over 1 million, we believe, with people who come from the regions and are not officially registered in the city. And in 2 years, we managed to provide services to 6,000, which means we have a long waiting list. So we have at least 4,000 people who are still waiting to be enrolled in our classes, which means we need more capacity. So the center that we created has 7 classrooms, of which one is a computer lab equipped with computers. One is a sewing lab. We have the equipment for sewing classes. We have 6 full-time staff that are paid from the municipal budget. We have 31 part-time trainers. These are people that we hire contract-based, and usually for those trainings, we need to find additional funding and collaborate with different other organizations. And totally, we have around 51 professional and personal and professional development courses that we offer. The center is open from Tuesday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. to accommodate the working population, and our courses can last from several intensive days to up to 2 months. In addition to traditional courses, we have clubs, we have open dialogues, as we call them, and employment courses that can integrate several courses together. I will give you a few examples in a few minutes. So we decided to diversify our portfolio. For example, if we don't have enough funding or if we want to cover a wider range of beneficiaries. Our beneficiaries' age ranges from 16 to 80. Our most loyal beneficiary is 80 years old, which is nice. So we cover a large age span. One example of program is Learn, Grow, Succeed. This one was implemented with the financial support from DVV International. So in just 1 year, we had almost 5,000 beneficiaries, and we provided almost 4,500 academic hours and 68 unique courses. We also had a municipal conference and 2 days of open door events to attract more visitors. So this is just an example of one year-long program. So we managed to cover 5,000 people in just 1 year. In addition to formal courses, and this was one of our discoveries, people are very interested in communicating with each other, with being part of these communities, networking, and getting to learn things from other experts. So we created the so-called open dialogues, where we invite national experts from various fields And we try not to just keep people in the classroom. We organize a lot of field trips. We visit various institutions. For example, here you can see Chisinau, one of the Chisinau's municipal museums, fortresses, companies. For example, if we have courses for photographers, or if we have courses for tour guides. So we actually organize trips around the city, which is amazing. And this is one of the most popular of our activities. And as you can see here, we participate in forums, and we participate in exhibits, and we present the center. And we don't have just the staff who works there. We have beneficiaries who come along and help us, promote the center and share the services that we offer. Another example of programs that we have is employment for everyone. So this is a complex program. We identified 50 people who are looking for jobs, who are jobless at the moment, out of work, and they have to, or they can choose 3 different courses. For example, they can do accounting, Excel, and program management. So they can do different courses, and then at the end, we monitor how many of them manage to find a job. So they come to us, we offer several trainings, they choose the ones they're interested in, they take all of these courses, and then they, they try to enter the workforce, and we help them find jobs. For example, we organize workshops on CV writing or application writing. So it's the technical skills and the soft skills that we focus on. Another program that is very popular, again, to our surprise, was our non-formal learning interest clubs. This is a program that we don't need extra funding for, so we don't pay the trainers for this one. These are just different experts who come to our center, share from the experience. And we have experts from different fields, and we usually ask our beneficiaries, what would you need? And they tell us what they need, and then we identify the expert, and then we have these clubs that are organized on a weekly basis. So far, we had 77 club sessions, and it's around, we calculated, it's around 257 hours of activities, and we have almost 1,000 people who participated in this non-formal learning interest clubs. Just to give you a gist of the names of our clubs, we have the health club, the psychologist club, the seniors club, the fathers club, the healthy nutrition club if we want to lose weight, the IT or technology innovation club. We have a club that is run by a bank, so they send experts who help our beneficiaries to open banking accounts, install mobile apps for banking on their phones, and very practical things that they need on a daily basis. And of course, one of our goals was to establish strategic partners. So today, at this moment, we have 28 official partnership signs. And what is important when working with partnerships, and Mrs. Torelli mentioned that at the beginning, how do we reach out to partners? We reach out to the community, and we invite different experts. How they help us is they provide expertise, of course. They offer certified courses. For example, if we want to do accounting and we are not certified, then we go to a provider that has the license to offer formal certified courses, so they become our partners. They recommend trainers for very specific areas of interest. Many of these partners cover trainer fees. So for example, they have the program, they pay for the trainers. We offer recruitment, we offer our space. So it's a nice synergy, and it's a nice co-funding, let's say, opportunity for us. And of course, we organize site visits and workshops for a more diverse learning environment. And if you look at our logos, we work with UN Women, we work with Center for Electoral Education. We work with organizations that, for example, work with people with special needs, like the Autism Resource Center, Red Cross, the Refugee Council, so UNFPA, and many other agencies and companies. And well, technically anyone can be our partner as long as we have common goals, and we can, provide courses or trainings or sessions for our beneficiaries. So the challenges that we encountered at the beginning, of course, low initial awareness and trust in non-formal learning. The first question is, how will people come, or are you sure people will come to the center if you don't offer certificate to all the courses? Or if you don't have formal education, do you think people will take you seriously? That was one of the questions that was asked at the beginning. And need for recognition of informal competencies. So as long as we didn't have, in 2023, we didn't have an equivalent, a system that would, formalize informal, non-formal education, that was definitely a challenge. So what we notice is that if we offer personalized learning paths, this is an efficient way to attract visitors. Personalized meaning asking them, what do you need, the beneficiaries from Chisinau? What courses do you need? Not what you think they need, but what they actually need. And we ask them on a regular basis so that we create new courses every month. Peer learning and community-based clubs are very, very popular, even though we don't give people certificates and even trainers. It was not challenging for us to find trainers that we don't pay for those clubs. And that was, a discovery for us, and we will definitely explore this. Partnerships enhance program reach and quality. So we are happy to see that at the beginning, we were looking for partners. Nowadays, we have a lot of partners who get in touch with us, and we don't even need to look for them because we get a lot of requests of collaboration. And of course, our center has become a model of good practice in Moldova because, as I said, we have over 6,000 people who benefited from our courses in just 2 years. I think our activity increased the visibility of adult education, not just at the municipal, but at the national level, because we do get requests from other cities from Moldova to do similar things locally. And of course, the discussion now we had last year in the city council is to open other centers in different regions of Chisinau to cover more people. So we are going to propose this for the next year, and so that this is budgeted properly. And our future goals are, of course, developing a municipal adult lifelong learning strategy together with DVV International. An expert has been hired, and we will collaborate with the expert to provide this municipal strategy. A strategy means a budget. So when we have a strategy, we can fix a 5-year-long budget. And this is very important for us so that we don't have to go to the city council every year and convince them. And, we make sure they don't change their mind. We are thinking of expanding digital and blended learning. A lot of beneficiaries request for online classes. So we might consider that. We will consider that. Formalized certification pathways. Last month, we sent an official request to Ministry of Education and Research to include our organization in the list of providers of formal, non-formal, and informal services, and they will help us easier or help our beneficiaries to certify their non-formal and informal education.
And one minute, please.
1 minute, yes. And of course, we want to expand funding opportunities. We need to bring in more funds because we have so many ideas. So the conclusion is that Chisinau municipality has pioneered a robust, inclusive model for adult learning education. This case study proves that municipal level innovation can significantly advance adult education. And of course, continued commitment and collaboration are essential for sustainability and scaling. We have to continue, we have to be visible, we have to keep involving more people and convincing the local and the national public authorities that what we do is of the highest quality and it has a large, an important impact on the population, and we are in great demand. That would be all. Yes, I think I just fit into the 20 minutes time span. If you would like us to share more details on the center, please feel free to contact us. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Chisinau Municipality official webpage with the contact data. Our colleagues from DVB International will share our contact information with all of you. And good luck to those who are thinking of creating similar centers, or those of you who already have centers but are looking for, different ways to diversify your educational portfolio. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Daniela. It was really impressive how the Chisinau municipality decided to promote lifelong learning in the city and what were the steps taken. We have already some questions in the chat, but I suggest that firstly, I will allow to the second speaker to present because I was informed that he has to leave a bit earlier. So let me present you Mr. Victor Sikalenko. He is the head of the Mykolaiv Development Agency. Mykolaiv Development Agency is a municipal institution of the city of Mykolaiv, of the Mykolaiv City Council. Victor, you are here. Hello, you have the word. Welcome.
Слово.
Dear colleagues, a good day. Very happy
Здравствуйте всем. Я
to
очень рад,
participate
что
in
вы
this
можете
excellent
сегодня быть.
conference.
Thank you very much. I'm
We
very
are
happy that
honored.
you are
Thank
here
you
today with us. I'm very
for everything. And the colleague who
happy
presented
that I
the
can
valuable
also
experience
be
of the
here
city
with
of
you.
Chisinau
I would
is
like to tell
very
them that the
interesting, very
Mykolaiv
exciting
case,
presentation.
the case
Thank
of
you for
Mykolaiv.
that, dear Miss Daniela. I would like to tell you what the city of Mykolaiv is doing in order to ensure sustainable development, considering that the city of Mykolaiv is suffering greatly from the consequences of a full-scale military aggression or the war. One of the challenges that we are faced in our city, we have the issue of refugees. Refugees from the city of Kherson fled to the city of Mykolaiv. According to statistics and according to our efforts to gather reliable information, we know that between 60 to 80,000 citizens from Kherson reside in the city of Mykolaiv, and for us it represents a challenge because it is a question of integration. It is the question for the municipality to make sure they find jobs, they have a good economic situation and good level of well-being in their families and households. Second challenge that we are faced with is veterans coming back to peaceful life after their combat operations. And the third challenge that we are faced with is general condition of mental health for our city residents against the backdrop of constant shelling and bombardments. Over the past few nights, it had been very tough. Economically, the city has reduced about 50% as a result of military operations, and many enterprises have suspended their activities, and we lost about 50% revenues coming to our budget. 97% of young people who are students of our educational establishments or can become students in the coming years, they study online. 97% of our students study online. We have 7 universities, and also we have a number of other educational institutions, such as in total 160 educational institutions, including over 80 schools, 19 vocational education institutions, universities, and other centers of education.
As for the trends, about 55% of region's workforce is employed in Mykolaiv, and 52% of investments in the region are going to the city of Mykolaiv. Also, we have problems that are related with the workforce. We are facing demographic challenges. We have a lot of young people leave Mykolaiv and Mykolaiv region. They move towards safer regions of Ukraine or abroad. So unfortunately, the city of Mykolaiv is facing the challenge of aging of population. And more than half of the population are aged above 50, and in about 10 years, the economic development of the city will be very much challenged because we don't have the critical mass of people who would promote the development. Accordingly, I would like to tell you once again, adult learning is one of our priorities. We have a relevant strategy in the city of Mykolaiv up to 2027. The strategy states that one of the operational goals is high quality education, which provides for creation of adult learning centers, promotion of formal and informal education for adults. For us, it is important for people that people get not only technical education and knowledge, but also to develop the civilian education. It is important for people to have critical thinking. It is very important both for Ukraine and for Europe to avoid the influence of populists. And we need people with critical thinking who can ensure their economic, social, and intellectual independence. In 2019, we created the Adult Education Council at the City Council, which is responsible for adult learning development. It includes representatives from businesses, civil society, and representatives of universities. And this public council ensures implementation of all the targeted programs and usage of public funds related to adult education. In 2022, in spite of the full-scale war, in very difficult conditions in the bomb shelters, the civil society, businesses, and government were developing the roadmap to develop the city of Mykolaiv in the period of the full-scale war. And one of the aspects is development of adult learning, and DVV International helped us a lot. We developed the first primary tasks that we set for ourselves in the period of the full-scale war. Also, we have integrated approaches towards development of adult learning. We have targeted programs funded by the local budget. One of them is dedicated to the youth of Mykolaiv region. Also, we have social and economic programs developed by different departments of the City Council. The Department of Economy, Social Protection, and Labor. And also we have the Mykolaiv Development Agency. Also, we have developed the partnership approach to develop for the strategy of development. It includes adult learning as well. The Office of Restoration and Development of Mykolaiv has been created for the period of war. One of its experts is dedicated to adult learning and developing this area of work in the city of Mykolaiv. This expert cooperates with different international institutions that help us in this area. This expert is also responsible for cooperation between local government, businesses, international donors, and the civil society sector. And I will repeat once again a few words about our institutional framework. It serves as the basis for the adult education. So we have the Adult Education Council. Also, we have this working group on social security and public cohesion, which was created for the war. It includes 52 representatives of different areas from police, emergency services, businesses, government, and they also work in the field of education, both for young people and for adults. We have different working groups as well. Their task is to help internally displaced people. They help veterans, people with disabilities, and also one of their lines of work is requalification of people, creation of inclusive environment for learning. It includes both accessibility, physical movement of people, and intellectual development. Also, we create public hubs to help people learn new skills. We have different workshops that provide free of charge services for different categories of people in the city of Mykolaiv. Our main partners are the DVV International. They helped us develop the roadmap for adult learning. They have been helping us for many years to develop learning programs and their integration towards the demands of our times. And also they help us provide mental health support to the participants and our team that works with adult people. Another partner is the United Nations Development Program. They have created the Peace School program and work in the public sector. We used to work with the USAID program. We are very grateful to them for supporting social entrepreneurship. They were also working in the adult learning and lifelong learning. Another one of our partners is the GIZ. They have the program for internally displaced people, veterans, and they also help provide psychological support for the local residents. The government of Denmark also helps our city. We have strategic partnership for the city recovery, and adult learning and lifelong learning is one of the priorities for the government of Denmark. We have many other partners who have been helping us for many years to overcome the challenges of the full-scale war. On the pictures, you can see our partners and examples of our work. When the full-scale war started, DVV International helped us a lot. In our region and in many other regions, we helped to organize the first aid courses. This was our primary task. Also, we were providing mental health support. After the city of Kherson and Kherson region was liberated, we shifted to professional education. We work on requalification of women to help them acquire traditionally men's jobs, for example, for drivers of tractors, buses, or trolley buses. They learned to work on the agricultural enterprises around our city. And they were trying to replace our men who are fighting for our country right now. It is a very big effort, and of course, it's difficult for women to adapt to these types of jobs, because not all of them have the strength and the stamina to work on these jobs and on these enterprises. But we are making efforts, and we understand that the workforce in the city of Mykolaiv and nearby communities is facing challenges. As for our centers, so one of the examples is the Education Center South. This is the civil society organization. It works with the city council. They have several workshops, for example, sewing workshop, ceramics and pottery workshops, 3D modeling and printing. Also, they have offices for providing mental health support. They have different learning workshops, providing services for different categories of the population, for women, for internally displaced people, and for veterans of the war. One of the best training courses, if we talk about reintegration of veterans, one of the best courses was for electricians, because mobilization of male population, as I mentioned, has led to some gaps in people with relevant electrician skills. So our enterprises are looking for relevant experts and professionals, and we were helping them in this area. 80% of people receive the quick training in technical education, and they are able to find their jobs in the city of Mykolaiv or in the Mykolaiv region. This is a very high indicator. We take into account the requests and demands of businesses. We listen to the demands of the communal enterprises and institutions providing services in the city of Mykolaiv. Also, we have some statistical indicators here about our performance. This is the number of people who passed the learning in the South organization. So over 2,500 participants in the City That Learns and Teaches project. More than 500 veterans and their family members have received different social, education, and mental health services. Also, we provide co-funding for opening businesses for veterans, and also we provide financial support for socially responsible businesses. We help the local government to develop and implement adult learning programs. Inclusion is very important for us. We help all the people who would like to learn and receive high-quality education. We create inclusive, accessible hubs. Together with DVV International and the United Nations Development Program, we are creating the Educational Veterans Hub in the city of Mykolaiv. Right now we are procuring equipment, we have finished the repairs, and we hope that in August we will open the education center for veterans of the war. Another point is health and well-being. We provide different resilience courses, mental health support courses. We provide courses for medical professionals in the healthcare institutions. We do different promotion campaigns in the area of healthcare. Also, we work in the area of civic education and peace. We provide adult courses for intellectual development and for cooperation with the police, because the full-scale war has shown that the public increased their trust towards the police and emergency services. So we created this platform for the police. The police officers were explaining to the population what to do with the explosive ordnance, explosive items, how to behave with people with mental health impairments, and how to cooperate with the police. Because we have different types of the police in the city. Also, we work on entrepreneurship and employment. These are our graduates of our courses. And in the nearby community, we have opened a social enterprise. This is a car workshop to help repair cars and other vehicles. And people pass training courses in this car workshop. People learn how to repair cars and vehicles. Another important part of our work is digital literacy. These courses are provided for different categories of the population, for people with disabilities, for adult people over 50, and for young people and children who don't know how to use different programs or applications, or who don't know how to use the government applications. So we train them to get different social services through online systems or pay for the utility services. So we train them how to use it. As for the challenges and plans, we need to build a system of monitoring of the quality of the educational programs. We have a lot of programs, but we want them to have good quality. And we want all educational providers in the city of Mykolaiv to comply with the standards of education, and so that their graduates would get as many benefits as possible for the development of their families and for the development of the economy. We would like to attract more people from the vulnerable categories of the population, so that our educational services could be provided to all the groups of populations, to have no barriers, to be accessible. We are trying to ensure psychological and physical accessibility. Also, we are training the local trainers. We are doing very big work together with our partner, DVV International. So we do TOT sessions, we train the trainers, and we provide mental health support to the trainers who work with the local population. We are expanding our infrastructure. We are opening new training workshops. We are restoring our universities that suffered during the war. 3 out of 4 educational institutions in the city of Mykolaiv have suffered from the missile attacks. And we are trying to restore these educational institutions to help them work in the full capacity. Also, we would like to attract additional finances, additional funds. Our economy has suffered a lot from the war, and for us it is very important to ensure international support until the victory, so that we can continue our development. Also, we are integrating adult learning into the long-term recovery of the community. This is one of our primary tasks, to engage people over 50, to help them continue learning and rebuilding Mykolaiv. Thank you.
Dear Victor, thanks a lot for your presentation, but not only for the presentation, also for your great job, because that you do your job with so big passion, with so big dedication, especially in the framework of the war, in the case of full-scale aggression of Russian Federation against Ukraine. It's impressive. So big solidarity from our side, and best wishes to you and your citizens in the city. Do we have, colleagues, any questions immediately to Victor? Because I'm informed that he has to leave in 2-3 minutes. So if there are any special questions to Victor, probably one. Okay, people are probably ready to discuss generally. So Victor, thanks again. Big thank, and I'm giving back to the word to Syria to moderate the discussion. Both speakers are absent for the moment. Both have urgent appointments and they left. Victor has to travel. Daniela has to participate in a meeting with the mayor. So we have to discuss now. Syria, you can moderate it. And I'm giving up the role of moderator and will participate as the active member of the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was really impressed by the presentations by the two speakers from Chisinau and the city of Mykolaiv. I think they really highlighted the strong capacity to respond to the challenges. And I think at municipal level, the type of response and the type of initiative can be somehow accelerated compared to national level policies. Of course, national level policies are necessary. Both they have highlighted also what is the legal institutional framework in their respective countries, but the way these two cities have been able to take advantage of the existing institutional and legal framework, I think it was quite impressive. There were some questions in the chat during the presentation of the deputy mayor of Chisinau, which she managed to respond very kindly in writing. But I would like to perhaps pick on the key messages, because the questions were very relevant, very interesting, and I think the answers were quite comprehensive. And I just read the main points, and meantime I would like to invite everyone to raise comments or maybe share their own experience and in which way you think really the local level or municipal level can be a strong contributor to adult learning and lifelong learning in the entire countries. I remind that we are discussing the governance aspect, governance angle, and in the governance, we know by experience that national, say, top-down somehow it's essential, but also the bottom-up from the lower level of institutional arrangements, the lower level of governments are equally very important. So I go in order to the question and answers provided by Mrs. Daniela Munca-Aftenev. The question was about whether people from outside Chisinau, the capital of the Republic of Moldova, have opportunities to attend similar opportunities of training and retraining. And the answer was that with the new year, the plan is to mobilize teams that are able to travel by bus and reach out to suburbs of the cities, to go outside the city center and also outside perhaps the metropolitan area, and organize trainings outside the city of Chisinau. And for that, there are municipal youth centers that are able to contribute to this effort of reaching out. Next question was about career guidance facilitators, and the answer was that in the training center in Chisinau, there is no separate staff, but nonetheless, there are regular career guidance events and workshops, in particular in helping people on how to write a CV in a most appropriate and successful manner, write application letters, and therefore this type of guidance it's also provided through the Adult Learning Center. I think it's very interesting in the answer to read that the training center has a collaborative agreement with the National Employment Office where they offer expertise and guidance. And I think, again, it shows how at local level there can be fast responses and also innovative responses to the need of the learners, of the adult learning people and beneficiary. Next question was about the role of companies, and here the answer was that yes, many companies in fact request specialized courses for the employees, and the training center is able to sign contracts with licensed providers in order to respond to the demand. For example, here there was a mention of courses for accountants, and in this way, by going through licensed training centers, the beneficiaries can receive certification of formal education, in addition to the non-formal and informal learning provided by the center itself. There was another very important question about how to manage a faster pace of skills transformations while guaranteeing quality and responsive to labor market. This is a very complex issue. So to accelerate the speed, but at the same time ensure the quality. And here the suggestion about the Chisinau experience was that the center is able to deliver short-term courses up to 2 months in alternative to the rather long courses provided at universities that can last up to 2 or even 3 years. So even in a short period of time, the beneficiaries can, or adult learners can take several courses and therefore can cover more skills simultaneously. I wanted to read, the main messages because both the questions and answers were very important and showed how in practice things can really respond. Maybe I see Levan has raised his hands. I also wanted to add a couple of comments, but Levan, I give the floor to you. And if there are any other raised hands or comments, please feel free.
Yes,
Levan,
thank you. I wanted just to reply to one question of Agnes Roman, which probably remained unresponded. The question was, do they recognize these trainings qualifications for employment? I would like to a little bit elaborate on this. For example, the Adult Education Center of Chisinau Municipality, they provide different types of trainings. Partly, they provide even formal trainings. When they cooperate with the vocational colleges and the graduates are finishing the formal education courses, by the end, of course, they are entitled to get certificates which are recognized by the state certificates. But they are also providing non-formal trainings. And I would like to mention one example. For example, in accountancy or in office management. In both cases, the courses are non-formal trainings because the documents are not recognized by the state as an official qualification confirmation, but the organizations issuing the certificates are recognized by the employers. For example, the accountancy course is organized in partnership with the Federation of Accountants and Auditors of Moldova. they are well known in the country. So for employers, knowing that the graduates are coming from the course of the trainers from this federation, it's enough to give a job. This is one example. Another example, office management. So office management assistants, the qualification is called in this way. The graduates are becoming certificates of the Chisinau Municipality Adult Education Center. So again, it's non-formal certificate, but again, this is a unique direction of vocational training, not existing in other governmental colleges. Therefore, for employers, this offer is quite attractive to hire people after the graduation. And last point from my side, there was a question regarding the accessibility of the course for people from suburbs or outside of Chisinau. And Daniela already responded in a way that buses will be organized starting by the next years. But I would like to highlight one more initiative of the city municipality in the strategy, which is now in the discussion, and we support a little bit with the elaboration. In the strategy, it's already put the goal to establish in the further districts of the city further adult education centers. So this existing center, CHIMIA, which is the name abbreviation of the center, will not remain the unique center in the city, but there will be additional similar centers providing various types of education, not only vocational training, but all kind of training, language trainings, computer literacy, and also trainings related to civic education or just to psychological rehabilitation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for your additional comments, Levan, very important. I saw the hand of Snezhana Leu-Severinenko. I wonder if, Snezhana, you want to intervene? If yes, feel free. Otherwise, yes, the floor is yours, Snezhana.
Actually, thank you, Syria. Hello. I lowered down then the hand because I just wanted to add, but then I understood that it's about the context of Moldova, but to mention that in Ukraine, there is a great network of qualification centers that also gives the opportunity to confirm your qualification level and then go to the labor market after any types of trainings, like formal, non-formal, but if you want to really to confirm that you're the qualified worker and to have the right for the decent work. So maybe that experience can be also interesting for the colleagues from Moldova.
Thank you, Snezhana. And I want to continue to comment on this aspect of certification and quality. I received a direct message and from a person from Moldova. And if you want, Ludmila, feel free to take the floor. But she's raising also the question about quality and quality assurance. And I think this aspect of certified and non-certified, it's at the center of adult learning policies, and it's very important to set a policy framework, which is not always the case in every country. But based on the experience of EU member states and also candidate countries and neighboring countries, ETF is developing an approach on quality assurance of adult learning. It will be the subject of work in the future, including next year, because in ETF there is a forum on quality assurance. And what we are doing and what they are doing is really trying to develop an approach where in adult learning there is accreditation of providers, there is accreditation of training centers. It's very difficult and perhaps it's not very advantageous to go for quality assurance or certification of each specific training program. In adult learning, courses can be short, and especially in adult learning, the courses or the training programs adapt very rapidly. They can change slightly year after year or course after course, because the capacity of the adaptation and responsiveness in adult learning for upskilling, reskilling, for key competencies, soft skills, it's a specific features. It's different from initial education. And what we are trying to develop, but it's work in progress, is to give value, to develop an approach of accreditation or say quality assurance of providers. For example, in future, the training center in Chisinau can become, and hopefully will become, an accredited training providers. Similarly, is the situation, can be the situation in Ukraine and other countries. To say develop quality assurance for each individual course may be not appropriate because of the rapidity of changes and the need for adaptation. I mean, I was very impressed by the presentation from Mykolaiv, where they've been able to set up courses, for example, for people that are refugees from other regions, or people who are veteran, or people who suffered from say some mental health being affected by the war in short period of time. And this is much more important than this reactivity, much more important than having long-term certified courses. So to distinguish the different levels between providers and courses. Sorry for being long, but I see that the issue of quality, it's a burning question in the field of adult learning, and it's important to remain flexible in that respect. To give, with the idea to give more opportunities. The purpose is to increase participation in adult learning. The purpose is to lower barriers. Again, okay, I stop here because I'm talking too much, and I want to see if there are additional comments, additional practices, questions, rather than continuing myself. So I would like to invite on other practices or this issue of certification, the issue of quality. Thank you, Hannes. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for being with us. Also, what we would like to do before closing this webinar is to share brief information about upcoming events. I see another comment from Nishana in Ukraine that high responsiveness is often possible if there is a support from donor project. For example, UNDP is very active, GIZ and Helvetas. Yes, donor support, it's important, and everything helps and support the development of national policies. At the same time, what we're trying to explore it's how national systems and national policies and governance structures can be strengthened, because adult learning, it's really becoming a priority in many countries due to the national and global challenges. And we heard that adult learning, it's about technical courses, technical learning, technical competencies, but very much also about key competencies such as entrepreneurships. We also heard about social entrepreneurships, as well as life competencies, resilience, civic education, citizenship education, critical thinking. And I think it's important to more and more see these two sides not as separated, but technical and key competencies really integrating each other. I think the value of no formal learning, it's very much formal and informal learning to to approximate people, to reach out people. The more people become trustful and familiar, with the learning. The more they discover or maybe rediscover the beauty of learning, the easier will be also for them to enroll and participate in formal education, technical or non-technical. So this aspect of lowering barrier, we heard about the example of walking through the cities, learning from the cultural heritage of the city, and it means a lot for lowering barriers, not asking people to go to a physical place, a learning center, but learning in a very familiar way and easy way. Thank you, Leah, for posting also the page with a lot of material from the joint conference by ETF and DVV International in 2024, which we held in Brussels. And I see also a thank you message. At this stage, because we have a little bit more than 10 minutes left, I don't see other questions. Perhaps I would like to move to the conclusive part where we share information about the current activities in support of adult learning, in particular governance of adult learning, and also invite my colleagues to provide information. I wonder if, Lisa, you are here with us and you would like to take the floor. Lisa, please go ahead.
Good morning, and just 1 second to congratulate you, Syria, on for this excellent initiative with DVV, and also to the speakers, which presented really inspiring experiences. I really have just a few minutes to share with you what we are doing with Syria and also some other colleagues in ETF in the field of adult learning. We have started a mapping of legal and institutional arrangements of adult learning in a few countries, including Moldova and Ukraine, which covers the aspects of the strategies and the legal frameworks, but also the governance and the major approaches and governance to approaches and programs, of adult learning. And by adult learning, we mean not only the formal side, but also, and especially, we want to look into the non-formal side of learning, including upskilling and reskilling measures, and more broadly, learning aimed at developing a wide spectrum of skills. And here we aim at looking not only at adult learning provision or the training provision per se, but also at supporting services. So from the outreach, the guidance, and also financing mechanisms, validation of non-formal and informal learning. And we are doing this in the countries that you see listed, basically in the enlargement area. For this review, we are using desk research, including the evidence that we already have, and field work. We are carrying out individual and group interviews with key stakeholders, and this is happening right now. Indeed, as you see, the time frame is Q2 to Q4 2025. We started in April, and we aim at finishing at the end of this year. And what we aim at achieving is to collect some systematic knowledge on the state of play of adult learning in the enlargement area, to understand existing challenges which are relevant not only for the national debate, but also for the accession process. And I should add also for the ETF to plan future work in terms of, for example, policy advice. And what we will have are 8 fact sheets that summarize the outcome of this work. Also, this work will feed into a composite review on adult learning that we are preparing, which is a compilation, let's say, systematization of ETF knowledge in this area. And this review, this mapping will form, let's say, the backbone of evidence to feed into this composite review. And to reply to Agnes' question, although I understand she has left, we are also looking into companies' initiatives for upskilling and reskilling of employees through an exploratory module of the Torino process. And this is happening as well this year. So with this initiative, we really hope to start forming a solid and consistent, let's say, basis of knowledge on which we can build further on. Of course, building on what has been already done and counting also on the knowledge that has been collected through the GLAD network so far. Thank you, Siria. That would
Thank
be
you
it
very
very
much.
shortly.
Thank you very much. And next, we have also an upcoming initiative by an event by DVV International. Levan, I don't know if you want to say a few words.
Yes, with great pleasure. So one of the events which is planned for September will be the regional event of the DVV International's regional project covering mainly 6 countries. These countries are Armenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Georgia, Kosovo, Moldova, and Ukraine. In these countries, DVV International works, and therefore mainly participants will come from these countries. And the topic will be adult learning and education as a responsibility of local authorities. We talked already about the fact that responsibilities in the field are divided and shared between national government and local governments. And in this case, in the case of this event, we will talk mainly about the best practices and attitudes of local governments towards adult education. We will learn about innovative approaches from different countries, and we will have also international experts who will enrich the conference and promote joint learning. The conference will take place on 16th and 17th of September, and one of the points will be to visit also exactly the Municipal Adult Education Center on which Ms. Munka Avtenev today was talking and presenting the institution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will also implement together with DVV International a conference, and the conference title is Advancing Lifelong Learning in Candidate, Neighbor and EU Countries. We would like this event to be a high-level roundtable. We want to engage as much as possible policy makers, decision makers, because it's important to have the bottom-up, local level approach, but also the national policy framework clearly defined. We want to, in this way, to have a dialogue in order to, say, encourage adult learning reforms and clear institutional and governance frameworks. The conference will be face-to-face in Torino, and it will take place on 19 November. And in addition to last year's conference, again, it will be a joint event together with DVV International, like last year, according to the material that Leah shared in the chat. Last but not least, I would like to invite my colleague Fabio Nascimbeni. Fabio, the floor is yours. Would you like to inform us about the Learning Club?
Yeah, very quickly. Thank you, Siria, and congrats from my side as well for all the information shared. I learned a lot, very interesting. Well, this is a quick spot about what we call the New Learning Club on reskilling and upskilling of adults. So we are still in the field of adult learning, but this is something which is happening within the ETF work from the point of view of educators. So in the ETF, similarly to GLAD, we also support a community of innovative educators that is collecting around 1,600 people with a lot of activities, a number of clubs, we call them clubs, thematic groups working on issues connected to AI, technology, STEM, teacher professional development, and adult learning, especially with the keywords of reskilling and upskilling of adults. It is for educators, but not only. We also have experts, decision makers, and so on. What we do in the community and in the club, we collect new teaching and learning practices. So really, we are focusing on the educators, on the teachers and trainers. And when we get practices and organize webinars, we then award open badges to recognize the innovative work of educators. So imagine this as a complementary to the great work that GLAD is doing, but from the point of view of teachers, trainers, and the micro point of view of people working every day in the classes. So feel free to share with your colleagues and networks and schools the network below. Most of the activities are actually happening in English, but we do our best, especially when we have events, to gather also for other languages. And when you have joined, feel free to contact us through the link for any question or proposing any activity. The club, as we say, is something that is driven by the members, so it works because of the members and doing what the members want. So it's another avenue to collaborate with us and to also share further the knowledge that was shared today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fabio. And who can register and who can participate in the Learning Club?
Well, actually, everybody. So the Learning Club is completely open, and actually registering, we have seen different. Typically, is for educators, experts, support staff in schools, managers. But we also have, high-level policymakers. We have companies in there providing solutions. So it's really multi-stakeholder. So in a sense that is very close to GLAD, to the GLAD approach. And by registering, what you will do, you will basically be receiving the updates with the things organized, and then you can decide to, it's not there is not any commitment attached to the registration. It's basically to stay in touch.
Thanks a lot. I have really a request from Elsa Tasha to present herself and also her project, the title. So I would like to give the floor to Elsa, who requested so. Elsa, hello. Can I ask you to be brief, because we are really closing, but we are happy to hear about your project. Can you hear us? I'm not sure the connection is working. Yes. Elsa, Tasha, where are you connecting from? Okay, it seems unfortunately that there is an issue with connection. Please send us material, Elsa, Tasha, if you want to share information with us. As a way of conclusion, before also giving the floor to Levan, I just would like to recall that in the webinar today, we started talking about governance, and in particular, we wanted to highlight the issue of the sub-national level and local level, and how much can be done in terms of promoting participation of adult learning. We have seen examples and heard about partnerships, both in Chisinau and Mykolaiv. It was quite significant how they mentioned broad partnership of different type of stakeholders, from municipal authorities to NGOs, businesses, donors organization, different type of associations. So it makes the landscape of adult learning quite complicated. We want to speak about system, but at the same time, these systems, it's more challenging to construct, to build and put together. But at the same time, we heard also about very important issues of quality assurance, issues of licensing, accreditation, aspect of career guidance, the issue of the quality and capacity of different type of trainers, educators, teachers. So whenever we speak about governance, we have to consider all these aspects and how they can be steered and managed and brought forward together. Levan, I think the discussion was very rich. would you like also to say conclusive words to our participants?
Yeah, thank you, Syria. I was talking too long today, so probably now I will make it really short. Just one remark or one comment to avoid misunderstanding. So when Daniela from Chisinau or Victor from Mykolaiv, we are talking on adult education centers and the offers they are providing to citizens, please don't think that these are the unique institutions of vocational training in the cities. Of course, usual vocational training system is available anywhere in the country. These are additional type of providers created by municipality or supported by municipality, as in case of Mykolaiv, because in case of Mykolaiv, Victor was presenting the work of non-government organization. And these training providers, they are not offering just vocational training. In certain cases, they are offering really low-profile learning activities. Why, you would ask? Because not all people have positive learning experience from formal system from the past. Therefore, it's a crucial issue to involve these people who left education system quite a long ago again in the education system, and with step-by-step approach to involve them in more serious and difficult educational measures and activities. That's all. I think everything what was in my heart now I already expressed. Wishing you all the best, dear colleagues, and hoping that you will be active also in the future in our joint or separate activities of ETF and DVV International. Thank you again.
Thank you very much to you, Levan, and to everyone. Have a good afternoon and end of the day, and keep your commitment to adult learning and to the participation of increasing number of adult learning. There will be other opportunity. ETF remains engaged in adult learning more and more. Also in 2026, there will be the publication of a composite study, of a report. There will be additional events, and also online we will create other opportunities on this very, very important and relevant policy area for education and training. You will all receive the materials of the webinar, and thank you again, and good continuation.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.